Frederick Douglass, Prophet of Freedom by David W. Blight. Summary: Frederick Douglass, Prophet of Freedom by David W. Blight, published in 2018, is a Pulitzer Prize-winning biography of Frederick Douglass, one of the most influential abolitionists, orators, and writers in American history. Drawing on previously untapped archives, Blight provides an in-depth examination of Douglass's life, from his childhood in slavery to his prominence as a leading voice for freedom and equality. The biography highlights Douglass's journey as an advocate for abolition, civil rights, and women's rights, portraying him as a complex and visionary leader who deeply shaped American ideals. Summary: 1. Early life and escape from slavery. Blight begins with Douglass's early years, born into slavery on Maryland's Eastern Shore in 1818. He was separated from his mother and raised with little knowledge of his family. Through his intelligence and determination, he learned to read and write, which he later credited as instrumental in his journey to freedom. As a young man, Douglass experienced brutal conditions and harsh treatment, fueling his desire for freedom. At the age of 20, he escaped slavery, eventually settling in the North, where he would begin his career as an abolitionist. 2. Rise as an abolitionist and orator. Once free, Douglass quickly emerged as a powerful orator and writer. He joined the Massachusetts Anti-Slavery Society and gained national attention for his eloquent speeches, which challenged popular beliefs about Black people and slavery. His autobiography, Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, an American Slave, published in 1845, became a bestseller and cemented his status as a prominent abolitionist. Blight describes Douglass's ability to use his life story to reveal the horrors of slavery while humanizing the enslaved and presenting himself as an emblem of Black dignity and resilience. 3. Douglass's ideological conflicts and independence. As Douglass gained fame, he began to diverge from prominent abolitionists like William Lloyd Garrison, who favored moral persuasion and nonviolent tactics. Douglass came to believe that slavery would only be abolished through political action and perhaps even violence. He started his own newspaper, the North Star, where he advocated for abolition, civil rights, and women's rights, becoming one of the few male abolitionists to endorse gender equality. 4. The Civil War and Douglass's vision for America. During the Civil War, Douglass became a key advisor to President Abraham Lincoln. Blight details how Douglass urged Lincoln to recognize Black soldiers and make emancipation a war goal, arguing that freedom and equality must be the guiding principles of the Union's cause. His advocacy helped lead to the formation of Black regiments like the famed 54th Massachusetts Infantry. The war years marked a high point in Douglass's influence, as he called for a reimagined America based on racial equality and justice. 5. Reconstruction and the fight for civil rights. After the war, Douglass worked tirelessly during Reconstruction to ensure that the promise of freedom would extend to all Black Americans. He campaigned for the Reconstruction Amendments, 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, that abolished slavery, granted citizenship, and secured voting rights for Black men. However, Blight shows how Douglass's vision was repeatedly frustrated by rising white supremacy and violence, particularly in the South, as well as the North's retreat from Reconstruction ideals. Douglass faced personal challenges as well, struggling to maintain his status as a Black leader in a nation growing increasingly hostile to his message. 6. Later years, legacy, and personal challenges. In his later years, Douglass continued his advocacy, serving in government positions, including U.S. Marshal for the District of Columbia. He married Helen Pitts, a white woman, after his first wife Anna's death, which caused controversy among both Black and white communities. Blight portrays Douglass as a man wrestling with his legacy, frustrated by the unfulfilled promises of Reconstruction and the persistence of racial injustice. Until his death in 1895, Douglass remained an unwavering voice for freedom, justice, and equality. Key themes. 1. Freedom and justice as central ideals. Douglass's life was dedicated to the principles of freedom and justice. His belief in these ideals was unshakable, shaping his advocacy against slavery and racial discrimination, and establishing him as a moral leader for the nation. 2. Intersection of race and politics. Blight explores how Douglas believed that political action and rights were essential to Black liberation. Douglas's advocacy evolved from abolition to a broader vision of civil rights, calling for systemic change through political and legal means. 3. Resilience and self-determination. Douglas's journey from slavery to prominence illustrates his resilience and determination. His ability to reinvent himself and his steadfast commitment to truth and justice serve as an enduring example of the power of self-determination in the face of oppression. 4. Complexities of activism and leadership. The biography highlights Douglas's conflicts within the abolitionist movement and his struggles with changing political climates. His shift in ideologies and personal sacrifices reflect the challenges of being a leader committed to revolutionary change. 5. Legacy of equality and human rights. Douglas's lifelong advocacy extended beyond abolition to include universal human rights, including women's rights and the right to vote. Blight portrays him as a visionary who advocated for a just society where all people, regardless of race or gender, could enjoy equal rights. Conclusion. Frederick Douglass, Prophet of Freedom by David W. Blight is an essential biography that captures the life, legacy, and impact of one of America's most significant figures. Through his extensive research and nuanced portrayal, Blight provides insight into Douglas's transformation from a man born into slavery to a revered orator, writer, and leader who fought tirelessly for justice. Prophet of Freedom is a compelling exploration of Douglas's dedication to freedom and equality, revealing the indelible mark he left on American history and the ongoing struggle for civil rights.